Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's Family Ministry Moment. Um, it's Christmas. We're in the thick of Christmas season. I've already kind of done the bulk of my Christmas shopping, and I'm not going to take all the credit. My wife's done the most of the Christmas shopping, and so she's been wrapping presents heartedly because that's what she does, and that's what my daughter does too now apparently because they've both been wrapping a lot of presents. And we recognize we are in the throes of the Christmas season, and it's exciting. You know, the other day I had a conversation with my kiddo about Santa Claus. And some kids at school were telling her how Santa's not real and the gifts she's gotten from Santa aren't real. And, you know, I'm not going to get in an argument with anybody online about whether or not you telling your kids about Santa Claus being real is good or bad. We've done it just because it's just a sense of magic. We are a Disney family, and our kid believes in magic, and, you know, kind of having some faith involves believing a little bit of magic sometimes. And she also has this beautiful innocence about her that comes with this sort of thing. We've always taught her to be very, really generous, and Christmas is a part of that. She doesn't just think of gifts that she's getting at Christmas, which of course she does get excited about gifts she's going to be getting, but she really thinks about the family and the friends that she has around her, about the gifts she's going to be giving. She loves wrapping gifts, knowing she's going to be giving them to her friends and to her family. And she also loves giving gifts to her friends at school. And she's known to just make random gift bags and give them to her friends, whatever season it might be. And so we were talking a lot about Santa Claus. I started looking some stuff up because even some of the students have asked me, what does this whole Santa Claus thing come up about? And what is it? Believe it or not, Santa Claus is from an old Catholic tradition, going back to like the 4th century. It's a long ago kind of story of an old bishop. St. Nicholas lived in Myra. That's where he was stationed as a bishop, which would be considered modern-day Turkey. And he just was a very, very generous bishop, always taking care of the people that were in his community, and constantly taking care, especially of the poor, and helping share wealth within his congregation to the poor within the community. And it was just something that he did a lot. And there's a lot of old tales of him being really, really generous with people. And he was celebrated for a long time in the different Catholic faiths. It was really, really cool. And when the Protestant Reformation happened, when we Protestants broke away from the Catholic faith, we kind of lost that tradition, although some Dutch Protestants and others continued to kind of recognize St. Nicholas's generosity by calling him Sinterklaas. That was kind of the tradition they carried on, a tradition of generosity. And as so many of the settlers started to settle in different places and move on, Sinterklaas eventually turned into Santa Claus, and then the urban legend was kind of born from there. And so what's cool about it is that at the end of the day, Santa Claus has Christian roots, and the idea of generosity is biblical, right? Actually, I'm going to reference a scripture here. The book of 1 John, chapter 3. So that's not the Gospel of John. It's actually further than that. It's 1 John, chapter 3. We're going to start at verse 16. This is the scripture that reads, "This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need, but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth." Now, is the writer telling us that we need to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters? Not necessarily. Is that something that may be called to us? Gosh, I hope not. But you know what? That's what Christ did for us. He was willing to lay his life down for every single one of us. But that cost was huge. He knew that in order for us to be able to have life with God, we needed to be able to have a way to get there. And the way to get there was through Christ. Now, for us, laying our lives down for our brothers and sisters might look something like being able to give up what our lives currently are for people that need us. maybe putting our lives in some sort of risk or danger. It may not necessarily be always physical risk or danger. Maybe taking a risk or a chance on somebody. I've mentioned before in these videos that my folks have always been able to bring in people into our home and brought in folks that they knew in their lives that were struggling, and they would bring them into our homes and then give them a place to sleep for some time. That was a big deal. And you know what? I don't know what life looks like for you, what generosity looks like for you. Is generosity taking care of your elderly neighbor, or the single mom or single dad in your neighborhood that might need some support this season? Maybe. Maybe generosity is asking the pastors who in our congregation, who in our church community needs help and support this season, and reaching out to them and giving them some support, whether it might be financial or physical. I don't know what that looks like. But generosity is one of those things that we're called to do regularly. So it's not just about gifts at Christmas. It's not just about responding like Saint Nick did. It's really about the love of Christ and our response to that, right? We are supposed to respond to how Jesus loved us. And so we are supposed to love others just like that. So I hope to catch you guys at church on Sunday, whether it be at the 9 o'clock or 11:15 services, or at 10 o'clock for Sunday school hour, or 4 o'clock for youth group. And in 2 Sundays from this week, actually 1 Sunday from this week, the 22nd, we're going to have our family Christmas party, and I hope we can catch all of you for that. That's open to all elementary, middle, and high school students and the amigos, and we're going to be gathering together in the gathering place, and we're going to be having kind of a dinner along with some hot cocoa and apple cider, candy canes, and all that good stuff. And then we'll be having our Christmas gift exchanges of all the different groups that'll be there, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So we hope to have all the families gather around. That is Sunday the 22nd at 4 o'clock. So I hope to see you guys this Sunday, and especially Sunday afternoon for our family Christmas party. This is Manu. See you later.